Welcome to the smartest people in the room. We are glad you are here, and just by showing up, you are already demonstrating your very own smarts. Today, I am pleased to present two amazing women who have devoted their careers to helping others achieve their potential, not only in the music business, but more broadly speaking, to also be the best human beings possible. I promise you will leave here today smarter and more enlightened than you arrived. Before we get started, please let me take care of some business. First, to the audience, please feel free to introduce yourselves in the chat window. The reason we do these webinars is twofold. First, we want to showcase really smart people and the amazing work they do day to day in the music industry. But the second reason is a bit more nuanced. Many of you know that I am a music industry headhunter. I run the music practice at Turnkey ZRG, and I place music executives in roles throughout the industry. So by definition and function, I help people connect with companies. In this series, my goal is to help you make more connections, and I invite you to take full advantage of that opportunity. Specifically, I invite you to engage with the speakers and the other attendees in the chat of the Zoom. Please introduce yourselves, share your LinkedIn profile, say hello to your friends, and make some new ones. And also, please ask questions of our speakers. And also, this is very important for everyone, including you two speakers. That is, please set your chat to address everyone, not just the host and speakers. I want to thank our program sponsors, for without their support, we could not continue to do this for free. Special thanks to MedJet, Turnkey ZRG, the Tennessee Entertainment Commission, Tennessee Brewworks, and my favorite industry podcast, Unlimited Supply. A quick note about MedJet, guys. The top-rated air medical transport and security response membership program for travelers. This is a service that will safely transport you all the way home if you are traveling, especially overseas, and you encounter a medical emergency. This is a really important service for anyone who travels globally. So take a look at it at medjet.com. Let's get down to business. In today's host seat, we welcome my old pal, LJ Antonuccio. She is the CEO and co-founder of CoMuse, the mindful business community for creative entrepreneurs, where she integrates compassionate communication with practical business strategy to help creatives build sustainable success. A 30-year plus music and entertainment industry veteran, LJ has held pivotal roles at Eventbrite, TicketWeb, Ticketmaster USA, Indiegogo, and has collaborated with the Warner Music Group, Chuck D, Slam Jams, Apple, NASA, and Cisco Systems, among many other clients. She also serves as the Chief People Officer at Web3 data indexing company called Block Party. She is a PCC level ICF credentialed coach and workplace cultural strategist and recognized thought leader in compassionate leadership and mindful business. A practicing Buddhist for over 25 years, she's spoken at South by Southwest, Midem, Mondo NYC, Fest Forums, and many others. Her published work appears in Dancing with Dharma, Essays on Movement and Dance in Western Buddhism. LJ is a founding mentor for women in music industry at Ohio University's Scripps School of Communication and a passionate advocate for equity in creative industries. She's also one-third of the band called Swan Palace alongside her husband, Josh Antonuccio, and Jim Eno of Spoon. Welcome, LJ. It's wonderful to have you here today.
Thanks for having me. I really appreciate that. It's really lovely to be here. I'm very excited to have this conversation, and I'm honored. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. The honor is all mine. And joining LJ is Rebecca Shapiro. As president of Surefire Media, Rebecca works with renowned artists, brands, cultural institutions, executives, and nonprofits to amplify their messages. Driven by an insatiable curiosity and a passion for helping people tell their stories, she works at the intersection of arts and culture. Rebecca leads PR campaigns and creates bespoke publicity strategies for her clients to shape compelling story angles and powerfully present their narratives to grow their audience, garner media coverage, and increase their impact. a seasoned PR professional. She is a also dedicated coach and mentor to junior team members. She's frequently sought out to speak on career and industry panels for university students and the next generation of communications professionals. And also, very significantly, 2 weeks ago, she was named Polestar Publicist of the Year. It is my pleasure to welcome these two rock stars to our platform today. Take it away, ladies.
Well, thank you so much, Tom. I'm so excited to be here. And shall I say, to be on the other side, because Tom and I have worked together a lot over the years. And I'm actually pitching him to have my clients on his show. But now finally it's my turn, and I'm delighted to be here.
Love that. I love that. Thanks again, Tom. This is going to be a great conversation. Hi, Rebecca.
Hi, LJ. It's good to see you.
It's good to see you too. Good to be here with you. Congratulations again on winning the Publicist of the Year award. Before we get into our very awesome conversation today, I'm curious to know what that means to you.
Okay, good question. So yeah, I'm the winner of the Maxie Salters Polestar Touring Publicist of the Year award. I have to say I'm very proud. I'm so honored to get this award. And also like just to say a moment, like I didn't know her, but I knew of her and she had a wonderful reputation. I just want to, like honor her memory by mentioning her. I mean, I feel good. I've been working in entertainment and music PR for like almost 30 years. I'm a very hard worker. I've put in the time and I feel like I'm proud. So proud to receive the honor.
Amazing. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Very, very well deserved, I know, because I've had the pleasure of working with you and I know your work ethic and I know how you deeply, deeply care about the work that you do and you deeply care about the relationships that you serve inside of the business and your clientele. Um, I would love to take us back a little bit and talk a little bit about why you wanted to get started in this crazy business that we all know and love. Was there some big event that happened that, you know, lit you up and you just knew you wanted to be in PR? Or was your journey more, my journey was very zigzaggy. So what was your journey like? And how did you get started?
Well, sometimes I wish I had a little bit of a zigzag to my career. It's been one thing forever. And I
Mm,
guess there are pros and cons to that. But I went to college in the 90s. And at school in Connecticut, I've always loved music. And I was in an era of um, alt rock and Brit pop and new wave and Boston rock. And I was just, when I was thinking about my next steps, I was like, I have to do something I have to work in music. Like I have to be able to have this feeling all the time. And
mm,
so I knew, okay, so I narrowed down my options to music publicity, and I decided that I either had to work for a record label or work in the publicity department or to work for an independent PR firm, music PR firm. And there were not that many at the time. There were probably a handful, maybe 10 at the most. And I think now there's more.
mm,
So I was very strategic about it. I had notebooks, which I still have, and I just put together a list of I did a lot of informational. I blind called people. Again, I think it was just calling people because I'm not sure how if we used emails in the same way then. Um, and I eventually got a job. So let's see, I made phone calls and I got a company. I got a woman from a very highly or well-known company called Kathy Schenker PR on the
mm.
phone. I just graduated from college. I was back in Chicago living with my parents, just making a lot of phone calls. And the woman said to me, "Oh my God, this is what great timing. we have an opening for an assistant. It was Friday. And she said, can you be here Monday at 9? And I was like, no problem. See you then. So hung up, like packed a suitcase, booked a flight, told my parents I have to do this. I'll find a place to stay, and showed up at Kathy Shanker's, Monday at 9. Now, it was a great experience. It did not last long. I later learned that this was November of that year. I think they said someone told me I was the 17th assistant that they had that year. However,
Not a good sign.
no, but it was a quick learning experience. And in that time, I did everything from order chicken noodle soup for meatloaf, because he was coming in for a meeting. Sting was one of Kathy's clients, and I remember that we had to like triple confirm the Sting's, like a fax that we were sending, because Kathy had said Sting um, had been an English teacher and he pays attention. So we cannot send him a fax until everything is perfect. Um, so it was all very quick and wonderful and fabulous. And I got to see a lot, but didn't feel like a great fit. So I left, and then reached out to a couple of headhunters at the same time that I was actually still doing my own headhunting myself to all of the
Mm.
publicity record labels and independent publicist. Um, and eventually I got a job working for a corporate PR agency in their travel and technology divisions. Now I knew well that this was not like it wasn't going to be my calling, but I think people are always a better candidate when they have a job. So I figured I'd take the job. I'd work really hard and I would continue during lunch to like look for a music PR job. So
Smart.
thank you.
Wow. You're such a go-getter. I really appreciate this about you. I really appreciate you sharing this part of your history. You started off by telling the story that you made a list. Everybody out there, like Rebecca is one of the most organized people I've ever met.
Well, thank you.
And you were making lists from the beginning. So you got after it from the beginning. And it sounds like, and I love this part, that you got after it even without feeling fully prepared. It was just, you just put one foot in front of the other and you continued to seek out opportunities on your lunch break if you felt like it wasn't the best fit and you knew that you needed to move forward and continue to work in the industry. And so I love your spirit, and I love that that story really demonstrates that. Sorry, so I interrupted. Please, let's get back to the story. Then what happened?
So I took a job for a company called Bozell Public Relations, and it was at 75 Rock Plaza or Rockefeller Plaza. And it was kind of fun. I worked on I worked for the Ministry of Tourism for the islands of the Bahamas as one project. And I got to do really fun things like plan a press trip or multiple press trips to the Bahamas. So I would work with my contact at the ministry and we'd say like, let's put together, like, let's learn about like the food of Nassau, or we'd come up with themes and then we would find journalists to come and then we'd plan them. So I kind of was like a travel agent. And we were also working with AT&T Wireless, like at the
Mm.
beginning. And I remember I had to pitch a segment on how cell phones could help high school kids connect with their parents after school in case they were running late from sports, so the parents didn't have to worry. And I remember the feeling of like getting the commitment from the local Fox channel and like the reporter coming and meeting us and like all the publicists so anxious, but it all worked out. And then in the midst of all this, I was taking my lunch breaks downstairs, Rock Center, and it turned out that Warner Music was also in the same building. So it was Atlantic Records and Elektra, and I would just smoke cigarettes, even though I didn't really smoke, I pretended, and would just talk to everyone that was down there and like just make friends. Um, and I met a guy named Alex Levy who was in radio at Atlantic. And he said to me, when I saw him later that day on the train platform going back home, he said, my friend Amy Glickman works for a woman named Fran Curtis at a company called Rogers and Cowan. Fran is about to kick off the Rolling Stones Bridges to Babylon tour. Amy's been promoted and she needs someone to get in there like immediately. And so that was the timing, everything like came together. And so I interviewed with Fran and I got the job and
Amazing.
jumped right into it. And then it was a whirlwind. It was so fun and so fast paced and like so energetic and kind of the Wild West. And it was like everything that I had envisioned and was looking for.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Wow. How has the feeling of preparation meets opportunity, how has that shifted for you over the time of your career since meeting Fran? Like, um, do you feel like the opportunities have just come across your desk faster and faster and faster? Have they ebbed and flowed? Are there still moments where you show up and you feel like you're not quite prepared, but you go for it? Like, I'm curious about all of those things. Yeah.
Okay. Yes. Lots of good questions. Yes, I feel like there's obviously, as the years have gone by, there's a lot of more doors open up and my relationships, people that I met when I was 25, who I've come of age with, are now the same people that have like are running companies or have important positions. And so those are my friends at this point, and also people, my collaborators.
Hmm.
And also, but like I never take, you still have to put in the effort and you have to, maintain your relationships and nothing can ever be taken for granted. And I believe in being, very intentional about the energy that I put out into the world.
Yeah, I know you do. It highly resonates with me. And in preparation for today's call, I wanted to talk about the importance of relationships because we both work in relationships. We are in the relationship business. I would take it a step farther and say that the music industry is a relationship-driven business or
Right.
relationship-driven industry. However, there are a lot of purely transactional relationships happening in our industry. Um, uh, Quid pro quo and so on. And it's a business. So, of course, that has to happen in the business. And something that you and I have become deeply aligned in as we have as we've worked together and as we've become friends over the years. And a shout out to Jennifer Harrington, our
Yeah.
mutual friend who's in this call today, who introduced us. Thank you, Jennifer, for that. Um, is that in addition to the transactional nature, uh, caring for the human being, caring for the person, being able to put them first, regardless of what's going on the business side or the bottom line side of the business is very important to both you and my yours and my work. Um, I'd love to talk about this a little bit more. Where should we start on the importance of relationships here? How has that showed up for you as you've moved into your now president of Surefire Media role? Congratulations again on that.
Thank you.
Um, I, I, I can only imagine that it's become even more important, but I'd love to hear how you think about it. Yeah.
Well, let's just start. When you and I met for coffee last year, you
Yeah.
showed up with a little heart crystal for me, like a
Yes.
heart stone. And I knew you were my friend for life because I too love crystals. And as
Mm.
one can see, I love hearts. You can see that up there. So I knew that you were special.
Well,
But yeah, that's right. As we all grow up in the industry, meeting people, connecting, networking, finding the common bond that you two have is so, cannot be understated. And Well, obviously, let's see. It's great to have my clients are oftentimes they start as my friends, and then they evolve into my clients. So it's all about just making, it's like treating people like or behaving like a human, a friend, less robotic in terms of friendships and work. And it's
Mm.
always about like those, I'm always like, it's the little things. Those things make a difference. If you see, you know, someone's birthday, who doesn't like a happy birthday text? Or if you see someone's having a hard time, maybe someone's posted a GoFundMe campaign link, or a someone in their family has passed away, which I feel like, fortunately, every time I look at Facebook, I see that. Just like being a pal, like a little acknowledgement of what someone's going through, good or bad, like just makes a difference. And it has to come from an authentic place too.
Yeah, we talked about in preparation for this call showing up, not just in the good times, but in the bad times, not just in the fun, wonderful, lovely, celebratory conversations, but also in the difficult conversations, conversations where, perhaps boundaries have to be set to take care of ourselves and other people at the same time, inside of our teams, inside of our companies, inside of our clientele, inside of the industry, showing up no matter what. I think, to your point, it has to be genuine, and it has to that demonstration of genuineness shows that. Again, regardless of the outcome of the nature of the business, we care about the human being.
Yeah.
And that goes such a long way. Um, I can think of many, many times throughout my career and all the hats that I've worn where difficult situations uh, came up and difficult conversations had to be had. And because of the nature of the relationship, it was deeper and more important and more full of care or careful, beyond the transactional nature of the business, we were able to stay at the table and work it out. Now, does that mean that at the end of the day, they're, in our lives forever? I don't think forever exists. Everything changes over time, but people remember how you make them feel.
Yeah.
They don't, right?
Yes, that's what I've heard that many times and then obviously experienced that myself. Um, but I think another thing on this topic that I've had to learn over the years is how to have just having difficult conversations. And like, it's okay to feel uncomfortable. And like, sometimes it's necessary how to sit in discomfort, how to get an email from a client that's an unhappy client and like pause, put my feet deep into the ground, have a think about it, let it brew for a little bit, and and reply when I'm like absorb the information because as I've seen firsthand that those replies, those quick replies to emails when you're in a frenzy are never the right answer. So to everyone watching, when you're in a tough situation, I recommend the pause, always. Or the next, sometimes things have to be slept, you have to sleep on things. Many years ago, Surefire brought in an executive to speak to us just on like workplace dynamics and manage just a bunch of stuff. And one of the things that he told us that really that stayed with me was that you have a 24-hour work window within when to get back to people. So so I love that, and I've subscribed to that. I try to. It gets harder now because there's so many emails, but in general, like when so that gives you a nice window to think about things. No one wins a prize for an instant reply. No one, and I also don't think that you need to send a one-off email that says thanks. I like to sign my emails with many thanks, thanks, Rebecca. And then I've already said thanks, so I don't need to send another email. I try to be, again, intentional about my communication because we all get so many emails and so many of them are just unnecessary. So I try to be sincere and short, or just to get to the point.
You are so good at that. And I love what you said about, I call it the power of the pause. Power
Yeah,
of the pause. It's really, really powerful.
everything.
There's so much information that flows to us in stillness and in sleep if we allow ourselves a space.
I agree. There's that moment right before you're falling asleep. It's like you're in a different dimension almost. And
Mm.
I find that that is a good time, like things come to me then, or that is a good moment to ask for guidance and you shall get.
I love that. Yeah, some of my best business ideas have come to me while I've been meditating. I don't know if that's a good thing because my practice is to let shit go. But in letting it go, things flow, things flow. And when you're in a relaxed physical state, also, a lot of information can flow to you. And it's good to pay attention to that. So, to give yourself space, that power of the pause is like, it's awesome.
It's
It's awesome.
everything.
Yeah, it really, really is.
Yeah.
We are
Respond,
often
not react.
it's so easy to react. Gosh, I mean, there's so many things that can set us off. I'll just speak for myself.
Yeah.
There's so many things that can set us off here and there, and maybe it's joyful, but usually it's stuff that pisses me off. And it's like, oh, wait a second. I can choose to take a pause. I don't have to react to this. And that brings us to this next part of the conversation, which is, mindful moments. In order to have the power of the pause, you have to be self-aware, right?
Yeah.
You have to have some level of self-awareness. Um, I find that a lot of people that I've worked with over the years are sort of a mixed bag. It again ebbs and flows. Sometimes people are very self-aware. Sometimes those same people lack a certain level of self-awareness, myself included. And I think it has to do with our level of stress. When we're kicked into survival mode, we have a tendency to react really quickly. But, words have power. You are a wordsmith, you are a publicist, and you understand the power of the word. And you probably understand that it's hard to take it back. It's hard to take it back.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, yeah. Um, well, let's mindfully move into this next part of the conversation if you're cool with it.
Let's do it.
I'm loving this. I'm loving this. Oh, hey, Christine Mayo. I love your feedback here in the chat. Christine said, I was given a crystal heart from another servant leader at one of our sync conferences. It was very authentic, beautiful gift. We've become sisters. That is lovely.
I love that too. That's
Yeah,
very meaningful.
that's cool. That's really
Yeah,
cool. Thanks for sharing, Christine.
yeah, thank
Aw.
you.
Bring on the matriarch, says Norwood. Thanks. Thanks, Norwood. You're welcome here. Um, uh, yeah, so we are two women that have been working in the music industry, which is predominantly male, and 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 has been since we've started. It was more so back then. Things have shifted over the years. Um, for me, I'm LJ. There's a story behind my nickname. My name's Leah
Oh,
Joy, but there's a story behind my nickname. Back when I owned a boutique booking agency and I was booking tours,
you've done
local.
so many cool things. Let me just
I've
say, right? And
I've
so
done a
that's so
lot.
wide, such a diverse array of things.
It has been very diverse and really fun.
Yeah,
I am what I like to call an artist in a business suit. And so if I find
that's
something,
perfect for you.
thanks.
Yeah,
Yeah, it really is. It's a fun way to go through life, to be able to make a living doing what I love doing in creative ways. And everyone, I just have to shout this out too, because in preparation for this call, Rebecca and I both learned that we paint. Rebecca does watercolor, and I do as well. And that's something that we enjoy in our pastime. Rebecca is much further along than I am, I might add.
No, not necessarily. Not necessarily. No.
It's just, hey, Dan, what's up? All right.
Thanks,
Um,
Dan.
it is really sort of a matter of just putting creativity out into the world to see what resonates with people. But if it comes from the heart, if it comes from an authentic place, it does tend to resonate with some people, right? I mean, no one is for everyone. We all know that. Um, but at the end of the day, if you truly are being yourself, you're going to find your people by continuing to put good work out there in the world. And I really feel like you've demonstrated that, and I've demonstrated that. Um,
High
uh,
vibrations, good vibes
yeah,
have to be put in the world. I try to stay
absolutely.
above I read something about the downward dimension, and I really try
Mm.
to avoid going below like ground level. I keep everything up.
Let's make a deal. We're not going to the downward dimension. We're staying above board here. And
Yes, we
Tom,
are.
that goes for you too, Mike. For now, I know you are. And everybody in the call, we're taking an oath to be above board in today's call and beyond. I love that. No downward dimensions for us. Um, Back when I was Leah Joy and I was booking bands, um, email was very new at the time. I had a Yahoo address, if that means anything to anybody on this
Yeah.
call. Negativity sucks. Love it, Tom. And isn't it? It's such a downer. Um, and I would hit up, all these venues and promoters locally, regionally, and nationally, from Berkeley, California, where I had my boutique agency at the time. And I knew I had great bands. I went out, I scouted them, I signed them. I was a freelance agent, and I also was a performer, a singer, and a dancer. So I knew what it took,
Yeah.
artistry wise. And I signed some really great folks. And these people would not get back to me. Concert promoters and venue owners, I would have to
Mm.
go in person and knock down their door to get meetings with them, which I did.
I'm sure you
And
did.
yeah, and then eventually I got too busy to take all of these in-person sales trips all the time. So I would start making calls and leaving voicemails, and people didn't really get back to me. And then I sent the same pitches to the same
Wow.
people via email with an
Mm.
LJ signature, and they thought I was a man. So they got back to
Oh,
me and I booked
wow.
the bands. Yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah, yeah.
wild. I didn't know that story.
Yeah, yeah. So the LJ is it's a badge of pride, hard work,
Yeah, for sure.
cleverness, and but y'all can call me Leah Joy if you prefer. I respond to both, even hey you sometimes. But I think this points again to things that they were this way back then. I was just a handful of women agents at the time working in independent venue circuits. And so it was a very new thing on the scene. And over time, similarly to you, we have become more in population, which I really appreciate because I think women bring a lot to the table in business and in life. And I think that's an understatement, actually. In your experience, what was something that you just noticed? Maybe it was a little quirky or a little funny coming up in the business where maybe you were uh, competing for a job, or, it was just being one of the few women in PR. What was that like? Yeah.
Well, being one, I mean, there are a lot of women in PR, but being one of the few women in music PR,
Yes. Thank you.
not now, Surefire now has a lot of women, but when we started out, I was one of the few. And then I had a baby, and then I was the only woman with a baby at the company. So so that was, that was presented some challenges, but I figured it out. I also just think that I guess, when I was younger, just the confidence that with age comes more greater confidence
Sure.
and responsibility. And so, I don't, that's a good question. I have to think about that
Yeah.
because nothing immediate is coming to me right now. It's not.
Yeah, that's okay. That's okay. I think for me, it was just noticing the inequities, which are a real thing, and working with them, just
Right.
working with them. Through for me, I've always been um, someone that invites people into my sphere, or I get invited into people's circles, and there's an exchange of information where things are feeling like disarming rather than attacking, which for the record has never worked for me.
No.
So it's befriending the situation and almost having a sense of humor about it, really. That this is the nature of things and that all things change over time. And they really have. Um, I I'm wondering, like, in terms of mentors and heroes, which Tom, you brought up at the start of our call today, who really stands out for you, Rebecca, perhaps a female mentor or hero that really you've looked up to, or maybe there's been more than one over the time of your career, over the lifespan of your career.
Well, let's see. I've had the honor of having two amazing female publicist bosses, both of them terrific people and publicists and very different. So I feel like I was able to learn different things from them. I mean, when I worked for Fran Curtis at Rogers and Cowan, and she is now since retired, um, it was a lot of as her assistant, I was sitting right outside her office, so I could hear her on the phone. And
Wow.
I heard the way she spoke to her artist, and um I heard I was able to like absorb the kind of the conversations she was having and the things she was saying firsthand. And that definitely helped me moving forward. And then from Marilyn Laverty, who's a legend and the founder of Surefire, she taught me everything there is to know about how to do my job. So she left no stone unturned. The way that we did press releases, the way that we pitched, the way that we did reports. Surefire has an incredible reputation as being like the best in the business, which we are. We hold ourselves to, very high standards. We're a company of excellence. And so she taught me how you do the job. Um, and she ran publicity at Columbia Records. So she really had experience and she was one of the few women doing this. So, she brought a lot to the plate and I still continue, to learn from her, however many years later it has been.
That's amazing. I love that. It's mentorship is so important, isn't it?
Yeah,
Like,
I love to. I mean, I feel like I do more and more of it. It's just so fun for me. Also, my daughter is 20, and so we're in summer season, we're entering, and that is internship time. So we get a lot of her friends who want to do, they know how much I love my job and how much fun it is. So I'm talking to them a lot about, or advising them on like career paths, the entertainment industry if they want to do it, connecting them with people, just giving them, starting relationships for them. Now, look, it's on them to get the internship, but at least
right.
I'm making connections, which is something I seem to be doing all the time.
I love that.
But I love it when people say, no, thank you. Or I just do like a 20-minute Zoom and that's given them some information, some ideas to go forward with.
Yeah, actually, let's if it's okay, I'd like to talk a little bit about the importance of being a connector. Because again, it leans into the importance of relationships and putting relationships first. Um, in my experience, working in workplace culture and organizational design, as well as coaching, Um, there's I see two types of help out there. There's the help that the helper thinks they need to help with, and then there's the type of help that is actually needed. So for me, it's like I have to check myself and sort of not impose my agenda on other people's needs.
And why, and why,
And
and why don't you do that?
right, because at the end of the day, I am a different person with different experiences than them and their experiences and their situations. And there may be a little overlap in how we came up in the world and came to be. But at the end of the day, it's not really serving them well if I just put this blanket solution on top of whatever
Right.
the problem is. I need to understand what their problem is and then figure out how to help them in a way that they need help.
Right.
Um, and I think that you do that as well as a connector. It's, you're sort of um, the call is to be very like zoom out, big picture, and
Mhm.
also zoom in, highly detailed. And to be able to toggle back and forth between those two things is an art. And it kind of requires an ego check for me anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's a fine line, certainly. And I have a lot of fabulous publicists and teams that I work with, and there's a lot at any given time. There's 20 things that need my
Right.
attention, and typically they're like the stuff that's like the more challenging stuff. Um, and yeah, as a mentor and as a leader, you really need to, you want your people to figure out how to come up with things on their own or support it. Um,
Right.
and, not provide all the answers, although that is a challenge because sometimes I just want to say, do this. But in order for them to grow as leaders, they need to have those moments where they have to, again, sit in the discomfort and, figure it out to come up with
Right.
themselves. And just because you've only been in the job for a year doesn't mean you're not capable of it. Like I encourage everyone to own their generation. If you're Gen Z, you might be able to offer something better, different than Gen X. So people want to hear your ideas with confidence. It's the hesitation I don't like, but if you feel good about something, that should be shared.
I love that. Yeah, it's polymathic, right? We can take things from different places and figure out how to make it our own. And we can share what we know to be true, and others can take pieces and make it their own. It works both ways. Part of the work that you brought me in to Shorefire to do was, in fact, it was for the annual review process and to sort
Yeah,
of look at how we might. Um, not just improve it, but hold a container for people to figure things out on their own, right? To set up a system,
yeah, yeah.
essentially.
And
And I loved working with you because of that frame of mind. You gave people the space to figure it out rather than I'm just going to come in and do it all and be, um, I'll just take it off your plate, which in the moment, I mean, you do wonderful work. And of course, then you will produce wonderful work, but it's not a teaching moment for them. Or rather, the opportunity there is they're not given the space to learn and grow. And so
right.
you're very committed to learning and growth. And I love that. Um, what are some exciting growth opportunities that you're seeing that you can share right now about
Oh, that's
Shorefire? Yeah, or anything.
Um, that's a great question. Well, a handful of years ago, we
Mm.
were acquired by a public company called Dolphin Entertainment. And within Dolphin, we have like six sibling agencies. And so and a couple of them are other PR firms with different areas of expertise. Another one is influencer marketing and management. Another one does special events and high-end bookings. And so to me, that is on a work level, that's growth because we're this like very a powerhouse of these like amazing people who are all in the same business. And I love collaborating with them. If I have a question about how to do something, I know there's a person that can answer that better than me because I don't know, have all the answers. So we have a Slack channel that's for all of us, and people ask questions, ask for contacts, ask for ideas. It's been really quite fun for me, I have to say.
I love that. I love teams.
Yeah,
They're
me
so, when
too.
they're good, they're good. Yeah.
I'm a team player through and through. I
Yeah.
love my teams. I love, there's nothing, and I see everything as like, it is a, everything is a team. We cannot do what we do on our own. And there's an African proverb that says, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. And that really
So
resonates with me.
beautiful. It's absolutely so beautiful, so true. Um, yeah, and Tom, I see your question. So I definitely want to get to that question in just a moment. But I had a thought here, which is that as we become leaders, as we move up in the ranks of our career and into mid-career stage and leadership stage, it can feel very lonely because I think people look to us as leaders to have all the answers. But
Right,
like you said, realistically, no one can have all the answers. We don't have all the answers. And
right,
so to be able to bring people in collaboratively, to be able to know who to go to for what, just makes us and our work stronger and them. It's a united front and it's so much less lonely. Um,
right.
so yeah, I really appreciate that. Tom asked a question, how do you guys balance being moms with running your businesses? And what's the secret to doing this with grace? Well, I'll quickly say that all three of our kids are out of the house at this point and have graduated college. Woohoo!
Congrats. Oh, wow. You're in a different state.
It's wonderful. It's wonderful and amazing. So I think Rebecca, you're a little bit closer to this than I am right now. So I'll let you take the question if it feels good.
Yeah, so my daughters, so I'm in a different stage. I do not have young kids anymore. Now my daughter's just finished her sophomore year in college, and my son's finishing up his sophomore year in high school. So very quickly, it was very, very challenging, obviously doable, but when they were younger, I couldn't read a book. There was no time. And I also needed to work out because I felt like the sweating on a treadmill made me feel good. So I was very organized. I had everything scheduled. And I didn't have like any me time. But now that my kids are older and my son gets himself around the city and to school by himself, I have that, I'm getting the time back. So I have more time to like paint, or I just started taking mahjong lessons, which everyone seems to be doing these
Cool.
days. Um, and I also have time to read and like watch shows. I'm able to live a more like peaceful life because I'm not sprinting and breaking my ankle or my wrist, which I have done before trying to get places on time. So everything has just been able to I've stepped everything down a notch just because I don't have that schlep like I used to with all my weekends being busy. Children are a blessing and a gift. So this is not a bad
Of
thing. It's
course,
just
of
like,
course.
it's all about time management and, prioritizing.
Mhm, mhm. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jennifer says, love that you're getting time for you back, Rebecca. A question for you both. How do you foster team buy-in and build longevity in teams in such a fast-paced industry? That's a great question.
Yeah. LJ, you want to go first?
Oh, sure. Um, I would say clear communication is really important. And I think that um, my strength is really big picture and the ability to live in the details. I can toggle back and forth. I am, as I said earlier, I'm an artist in a business suit, so I can do both. But I prefer to live in the big picture. I lean that way. I think everybody leans one way or the other. So my natural tendency is very big picture. I'm big on vision and identity and strategy and planning, and I could do it all day. Um, Core values, we talk a lot about core values at Comuse. All of these things that live up here is really big for me. So I communicate this way, and we have an amazing team at Comuse. We have four co-founders. So Marisha, Jen, Jennifer, and myself are the co-founders of Comuse, and we all have different strengths. So I think, in terms of building longevity, it's finding common core values, intrinsic core values, with the people that we work with, and knowing who has what sets of strengths and skills so that we're leaning on each other and together we are building something super strong, flexible but strong. And I think we've done that at Comuse. It's really lovely and exciting to work with these women who have also become dear friends. And um, uh, it's not perfect. I find myself often apologizing for fuck ups, and they may be small, but
Apologize. Yes, the apology is so important, and
it,
that's glad that I'm glad you're doing that.
thank you. Yeah, it's not always, I don't apologize just because no one else is saying anything. I don't fill space with apology. But when it's time to apologize, if I need to own it, I will, because I like to go first and model that behavior. And it gives everyone else permission to not be perfect, but to be progressive, right? We all want to move forward. We all want to be successful. So let's just apologize and figure out how we're going to move forward. And that makes for a great team. So, how
Love
do you
that.
think about it, Rebecca?
Well, as you were speaking, I made some notes, and the first thing that came to mind was yes, clear communication, like you said. And I always say, I use the expression, it's a little cringy, closing the loop. And
Mm,
I do it with everything. Like if something, it's so important personally and professionally, if there's a conversation you're having, or if something has not been finished, or if someone introduces you to someone else, that's a thank you. That's a closing the loop. When you don't do that, then things just drift away. So I think, even communicating about if you're running 5 minutes late for a meeting, like let me know. Don't just not do it. And that's okay. But it's about, again, sometimes uncomfortable conversations, but that's
yes.
very necessary. I am a big detail person. So to me, it's always like in working with clients, I have to like read up, I have to ask questions, and I have to know all those little things because someone's going to tell me something a little about, perhaps it's like a collection of something that they have, which might seem like a small piece of information, but that's actually like a great narrative. And like that might be something we could take to the New York Times or the NPR. So I'm always about going in for the details. Like when I do my watercolors, it's like it's one thing I'm painting, and I'm like looking up close at like carrot or like the lines on the carrot or like a leaf. So I'm a big believer in looking inwards. And then my core values, which are a lot similar to you, are community, compassion, collaboration. That is how I like to lead my teams. I also lead with a little hustle and a lot of heart. And I feel like all of that together, makes it makes it like a fun, joyful environment, or at least I try to foster that as much as I can.
I think that's so cool. I love that. Thank you for sharing that. I don't think I've heard you come right out with your core values like that. I love that. Mine's compassion and communication and intuition and integrity. And I
Oh,
have a couple more, but those are the big
I,
ones
I
for
have like 25,
yeah,
so
right.
almost, but that's for another time.
Right, right.
Which is
Yeah.
like you.
There's a coffee in our future,
Oh,
Rebecca.
for sure. And I love that intuition is yours because I should be leaning into that. I mean, I do, but the fact that that's a core value of yours is going to make me rethink some
That's
of the
great.
top ones. Yeah.
Intuition is so powerful, and I didn't realize it when I was younger, but now I'm really practicing tapping in. It's a
I'm
practice for sure.
I mean, it is said that the gut thing is real, and so I always tell myself that like the first thing you think, I always go with like the first idea. Sometimes the first one is better than the second because I feel like that's, I don't know, more of my gut speaking.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and reading the
Instinct.
room, all that stuff. This is not easy stuff to do, but you
Yeah.
have to be some sort of, you have to have a
Self-awareness.
clear, yeah,
Yeah.
and sometimes a clairsentient, or being able to feel,
Mm.
people if you can, is so important.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Yep. Tune into that energy. That's
For
good
sure.
stuff. That's good stuff. I can't believe that it's 2:55. How are we doing on time here, Tom?
And
Are we
then I think,
with
We've
Allie,
you?
I
got
love,
all day.
okay,
All
well,
right.
Allie, I loved your question. I'm gonna email you afterwards, Allie, and we can get into it because I know
Oh, wonderful.
we have to wrap it up.
Wonderful. Well, I guess my final question to you, Rebecca, is, as we wrap up our time together today, which I have enjoyed immensely, it is always so lovely to talk to you. I'm so grateful for you
Yeah.
and for our friendship
We
and
share
for the
so
work that
much
you
of our
do.
values,
We
right?
do.
Yeah.
We do. Every time I talk to you, I learn something new about you, and I'm like, I just love this person. So
And
I'm
I
very
learned,
grateful for
thank
this.
you.
Yeah.
And I also learned many things from you. And you always have great ideas for me. And as both as a friend and in a business, work wise.
Thank you. Thank you. I love to create things and I love to create with you. So we'll keep that conversation going too. But as a final sort of closing note, what is it that you would like everyone to know about your work as we wrap up our call today?
Oh God. I mean, just that I care. Like, I care deeply. My clients and the people in my orbit are important to me.
Mm.
Like you, I want to help people. I want to mentor people. I want to support people. I bring goodness and light and help where I can. So I guess those are my, my parting words. And
That's
you?
beautiful. That's beautiful. Yeah, I'll go with my mantra, which is compassion rocks. And I
Oh,
see you, Randy. I see you. I see you, girl. It's good to see you here. Compassion rocks. I will live and die by it. And uh, yeah, those are my parting words. Thank you so much for this opportunity, Tom. This is awesome.
yes, Tom, we've had a very fun hour. I will speak for both of us in saying that.
Well, thank you. And I can't believe it's over. I mean, literally, that's the fastest, smartest people I think I've ever been involved with. Wonderful job, LJ, driving. Rebecca, you're one of my heroes. And
Oh,
so it's
Tom.
such an honor to have you both. And I promised the audience today they would leave here more inspired and enlightened than they arrived. You guys delivered that in spades. Um, really appreciate the role models that you are for us out here in the world. Keep putting great karma into the universe and be nice to everybody.
Yeah, oh,
Those are
yeah.
my parting words.
Agreed. Be kind.
Be
Lead with
kind.
kindness.
Right on. We'll see
Yeah.
you soon, folks.
Okay. Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Cheers.
Thanks for
Thank
joining
you.
us. Bye.
Bye.